Do you have any advice for someone who's just kind of like trying to get that initial momentum?
So yeah, this is one of the biggest things people talk about all the time. And I'm actually still in this transition still today. I think going on podcasts is a huge thing. Going other people's podcasts, writing articles, doing things like that to create a digital footprint is going to put your name out there. The more stuff you have out there, the more you're like diversifying your content, meaning writing articles, whether it's publications or actual just writing a quick article. Like I'm gonna actually have my first official publication in a nursing journal called the American Journal of Nursing, which is huge. And I did a DEI column and they accepted it. And you know how I got that? It was through a networking opportunity. I had gone to DC for this film documentary and I met a bunch of people. My husband kindly watched the kids so I could go, and I literally ran to go to DC, Washington, DC, and I was so excited. But I met somebody who worked at Columbia University, and she was like, hey, I think you should write this DEI piece. And I was like, cool, boom, did it. So now I'm going to have my first publication come out. Go for the ask. Don't wait for people to ask you for opportunities. Literally make the ask. All the time, I go on LinkedIn or in person, I make the ask. I was just at this Martin Luther King breakfast because I just moved to the Tampa Bay area in Florida. This breakfast was like at 6 in the morning. I'm like, who has breakfast at 6? But okay, I'll make it. It was a networking thing. So again, my husband stayed with the kids. I went over there. It was like 45 minutes away. And I was like, who do I need to speak to? And guess what? My whole table was like full of kids. It was so funny. But there was like over 1,000 people in attendance. So I was like, like we're all the healthcare people, but it's hard. It's not like they're like healthcare, like I'm here, right? So there was a woman who got up on stage because she won an award. And she won an award because she worked for like the Chambers of Commerce in Tampa and she's in business. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't even catch her name, but I looked to see where her table was. And there's like 1,000 people, right? So she went back at her table and sat down. And I made a mental note. I'm like, as soon as this event finishes, I'm gonna like directly go to her. So that's what I did. I went vroom right to her table. There was 2 people ahead of me that wanted to take a photo with her. I had my phone and I was like, can I take a photo with you? I was like, congrats, took the photo, went straight to my thing. I said, can I please have your number? What is she gonna say? No. She entered her number and I was like, I would love to like connect with you. She's like, yeah, let's have lunch. Boom, connection. Networking. I mean, I kind of took it a little bit, whatever. But like networking is probably the thing that I failed to do early on, both in business and in my career. And then back to the employer, don't worry about what they think because they can get rid of you at any time. And literally, the way they got rid of me the first time, they sat me down and they're like, oh, so we're restructuring your position as the director of education. So it's no longer available. I was like, oh, yeah, effective when? They're like, oh, like right now. And that was it. So if you're second guessing whether you should be posting or not and worried about what your employer thinks, don't worry about what they think. Post your stuff, build your personal brand.
It's interesting that you went down the networking route because that's what I was thinking as one of the other benefits to finding a transitionary job or looking at a job in through the lens of what can I get from this job? Is it going to be upskilling? Is it more money? Is it less hours? Is it more flexible? Is it remote?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to meet all the kinds of people that I'm going to need to know when I launch my business? Because like you said, they could drop you at any time. Yeah. And, you know, long gone are the days when you had to kind of worship your employer and there was any sense of loyalty, you know, for staying beyond a certain amount of time. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Please. And then let me tell you the other thing about the employer piece. Stop building the personal brand of your employers. Just stop. If anybody knows me, they laugh because I'm like, I will self-promote all day, every day, and I don't care. Because no one's going to be your biggest cheerleader than just you, right? And people are so afraid. You have to self-promote. Even if you're going to interviews, whatever you're doing, that confidence piece and that self-promotion and even like personal branding in terms of image and how you show up, like packaging, I need to do a better job of like how I show up sometimes, but that all plays a role in your personal brand. But don't worry about what your employers think and stop promoting them. And I would say the whole piece about starting, just be honest. Be like, hey, this is my first LinkedIn video. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just posting a video. People crave that authenticity, and people will follow you more for being authentic instead of trying to be fake and like pretending like you know everything in business, because nobody knows. There's no correct one way. Entrepreneurship, you're constantly trial and erroring and like just figuring it out as you go. That's literally it. And then just ask for help, like get mentors, invest in yourself. I've like spent thousands of dollars on coaches and stuff like that because it really matters. And then sometimes, yeah, like you might be like, oh man, I'm investing, I didn't get much out of this. But like you'll never know if you don't try.